Autumn is upon us. So bring it in with me on your mat for a reflective, grounding, anchoring flow. We're going to start in one of my favourite grounding positions, a child's pose. So bring your knees as wide as the mat and really slowly walk your arms out in front of you as you sink yourself all the way down, forehead towards the mat. And can you just wiggle your hips from side to side really slowly? Finding some kind of stability and balance here. And then let your hips slow and stop. And then can you just twist your forehead from side to side? So your head is just turning from left to right as the forehead presses against the mat. And then just release that down. Take a huge deep breath. Send it out through the mouth. Allowing ourselves to root, to anchor here. Take a couple of really deep breaths in and out through the nose. And with each exhale, can you heavy yourself a little closer towards the mat? Like you're going to sink through it. Really, really heavy here. One more breath. And then gently lift your gaze towards your hands, your fingers, and start to walk your hands back towards you. And I just want you to come to a seat here, a Sukhasana, a crossed leg position. Place the hands down on the knees. And as you inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, can you roll them back and down? Inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, roll them back and down. Inhale, lift shoulders up to the ears and relax them back and down. And then can you bring your chin into your chest? We're going to take some big circles with the head. So start to peel the chin up to the right shoulder and then take it slowly all the way back and around to the left. Bringing the chin back in towards the chest. Take another circle this way. So traveling chin to the right shoulder, taking the head totally back. Just be slow and steady here. And then when you come back through center, take it the other way. So drawing the chin over to the left shoulder and then taking the head back and round over to the right. Draw it in. One more circle this way. Chin to your left shoulder. Take your head all the way back and round. And then bring your chin back into your chest and slowly lift your gaze up. And we're just going to come onto all fours. Bringing your hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And start to cat-cow, spreading your fingers, using your inhale to release your belly down to the mat, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Exhale, pressing into the hands, curling your spine up towards the ceiling. So moving through this with your breath. And I kind of want you to think the whole way through this yoga flow, this yoga practice, about what autumn looks like in nature. About the shedding of leaves and the kind of resting to get ready for what lies ahead. Kind of starting to dial it down from the busy summer and kind of draw it back in to more of a reflective period. So with each movement that we take, can you almost feel like you're shedding something that you don't need? Old leaves. Getting ready for the growth of the new ones. The next time that you come through neutral, Draw your body back up. So you've got that straight spine now, you're not arching or pressing your spine up. And I want you to reach your right arm high. Really stretch this arm. Use this as like a kind of way to open up the body, encouraging that new growth, right? You've got to spread and release in order to grow new. And then take that right arm all the way under your left arm. We're finding a thread the needle pose here. Pressing that left hand into the mat, rolling the left shoulder back. You might creep that right hand a little further through. Can you press the weight over to the right hand side of the hips? And maybe you lift that left arm up towards the ceiling and wrap it around the lower back. But only if that helps to encourage that opening. We're moving slowly today. We're really trying to kind of root ourselves in, give ourselves time for reflection. I think our bodies kind of naturally fall into it, right? With nature, we can't help but notice what the world is doing around us. Sun going back in, darker mornings and evenings. And so rather than kind of go against it and wish for the summer again, how can we lean into it? Release that left hand if you had it wrapped. Can you press through that left hand? Just reach that right arm up one last time and then set it all the way down. Let's take it straight over to the other side, lifting that left arm all the way up, really reaching, finding space here, and then gliding that left hand all the way under the right arm, bringing the shoulder, the side of the head to the mat. Pressing through that right hand to roll the right shoulder back. Maybe gliding left fingertips through a little further. Sending the weight in the hips, in your base over to the left. And then if you liked it on the other side, maybe reaching that right arm up to the ceiling and threading it back behind your lower back. Encouraging that right shoulder to roll a little further back. Really deep breaths here. Giving your body the time to really get into each of these poses. Keep rolling that right shoulder back. Keep pressing the weight in the hips over to the left. And then if that right hand is bound behind you, gently bring it back down to the mat. Press into that right hand to lift the left arm up. And then gently bring it all the way back down. And then walk your hands out in front of you. Hands just in front of your shoulders. Tuck your toes, lift your hips to find your downward facing dog. You could always stay in an all fours position here. If downward dog is not your jam today, if you're in your downward dog, stepping through your feet, finding any little wiggles of the hips from side to side, head shaking left to right, forward and back, anything that feels good. And then as you inhale, can you lift your right leg up? So if you're on all fours here, you could still lift this leg up. Bend that right knee, lift it up towards the ceiling, opening the hip. And then send the right knee behind the right wrist. We're going to a curled up pigeon. So this right leg quite close into the body. Send that left leg back as far as you can, then untuck the toes. And bring your hands maybe slightly off the mat, up on your fingertips. Draw your chest open as you inhale. And then as you exhale, so these wide hands probably off the mat, can you bend into the elbows and find an exhale as you fold your body down. Inhale to lift. Really take your time with each breath and each movement. In a class I taught in person earlier this week, someone said this was like a pigeon press up, which I think is not quite a nice a vibe for it. I like to think of it as just a little ebb and flow here in your pigeon. Inhaling to lift yourself up. Exhaling to fold yourself down. And then the next time that you come up, draw yourself up. You might stay here. If this is enough already, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Or maybe you draw your thighs in towards each other, so you slightly lift and reach your arms up above you. This is like a lovely opening, considering it's getting colder and we're curling down. Opening, spreading up, and then release the hands down in front of you. Tuck your back toes. Press into your hands, step back to your downward facing dog. Well, remember, hands and knees is always fine here too, coming to all fours. If you're in your down dog, you're now drawing your knees back down to the mat. And we're going to walk our hands back towards our knees and then all the way back to our heels and behind our feet. Press your hands down, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. And then start to pad the hands forward, bringing them in front of the shoulders, either staying on those all fours or drawing yourself up to your downward dog. Take a breath. Finding that long line from your fingertips to your hips. And then on your next inhale, draw that left leg up and open the hip, bend the knee, send that knee high up towards the ceiling. And then draw the left knee behind the left wrist, curling that leg close to the body for that curled up pigeon, sending that right leg back as far as she wants to go. And then untucking the toes, bringing your hands out to the side, off the mat, up on fingertips. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. As you take a long exhale, bow your body down. Inhale, lifting yourself up. Exhale, bowing your body down. Inhale is to lift. You might not be coming as far down to the mat as this. It's going to completely depend on your body. So wherever you're folding to is cool. I promise. The next time that you draw yourself all the way up, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. You can always stay here, or you can hug the legs into each other. Find that lift. Reach the arms all the way up. Find the power here as you hug those thighs together. Reach your arms up. And then press the hands down. Tuck the back toes. Step back to your downward facing dog. Or to your all fours. Because even us in our downward dog, we're going to be lowering our knees down to the mat. Sitting back on the heels as you walk the hands past the knees, past the ankles. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And then start to walk it forward once more. Coming back to all fours, or maybe you join us in downward facing dog. And we're going to start to walk up to our hands. Really ground with each foot here. Take your time to feel how it feels into each foot as you tread. So letting the whole of each foot feel into the mat, into the ground. And then you end at the top of your mat, feet hip width. Letting yourself dangle, grab hold of opposite elbow and let that weight of the arms weigh you down a little further. Sending the weight forward into the toes, releasing the tip of the head down to the mat. Trying to bring your hips a little further over your heels. Keeping those toes relaxed. And then release your arms down, tuck your chin into your chest. Really take your time to grow yourself all the way back up. Roll the shoulders back as you stand. Take a little wiggle of the toes, wiggle of the fingers. Make sure there's some softness in your knees, Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, draw your hands down through heart center. Send the bum back as you fold back down to that forward fold. Inhale, lift your hands to your shins. Find a lift of the chest, that flat back. Exhale, release your hands down. And we're going to step right and left foot back to our downward facing dog. From here, we lift our right foot and step the right foot between the right hands. Nope, it's only one set of right hands, between both right and left hands. Ground that back foot slightly closer in. We're setting up for a warrior one. Now I find lots of space here helpful. So my right foot wiggles slightly to the right, left foot is slightly to the left, and then tuck your chin as you roll yourself up, bending into this front leg and reaching your arms all the way up. Wrapping this right hip back, both hips facing forward, and a slight tuck of the tailbone. Finding that straight spine as you reach yourself up. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, you're going to straighten the leg as you press the air down beside you to lower the hands. Inhale, bend the knee, reach them up. Find that length and that strength. Exhale, press the hands all the way down beside you. Inhale, bend knee, lift the arms. Exhale, send it back. And then you're going to walk your back foot a little further back, toes facing the side. Warrior two with the legs, reach those arms out to the side. We're going to keep this grounding with our legs, this stability with the bottom side of the body, and find some fluidity through the top. So that's very much what I don't know why autumn always makes me think of trees. It's because that's the most obvious thing, right? The goldy leaves falling down onto the ground. And obviously trees have these strong roots and trunks, but all sorts of fluid leaf growing going on up top. Anyway, I'm sorry, we've been in this for a while. Send your arms out to the side. We're going to flip that front palm. Remember, keeping your legs the same. Reach the right arm forward and send it all the way back. Reverse warrior two. And then glide your right arm to your right thigh. Left arm comes over, side angle. Peel that left hip back. Keep the legs the same as you move through these two poses. Moving with your breath, so inhaling to come up through center, exhaling to take it over to the side. Inhaling to lift yourself up, exhaling to draw it over to the side. Inhaling to center, exhale, come over. And the next time that you come to your reverse warrior two, stay here. Roll that right shoulder back and then cartwheel your hands down around this front foot and turn into a lunge. Ground your left knee, send your right knee next to it, sit back on your heels as you walk your hands past your knees, past your feet, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, and then walk the hands forward once more. Tucking your toes, lifting up to your downward facing dog. With your next inhale, lift that left leg. And exhale, step the foot between the hands, as many steps as it takes to get there. Ground that back foot slightly closer towards the front foot, but then take your feet a little wider, bend into that front knee, lift the arms all the way up. Wrap that left hip back, so we want hips facing forward, and then this slight tuck to find that length through the spine as we reach up nice and strong. Relax those toes, relax that jaw. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, lengthen the leg, turn the palms down as they press the air down beside you. Inhale, bend into the leg, reach the arms up, wrapping that left hip back, tuck of the tailbone, lengthen that front leg, reach the arms all the way down. Inhale, bend, lift the arms up. Exhale, straighten, take them down. And then walk that back foot a little further back, toes facing the side, setting up for your warrior two on the other side, spreading the arms wide, relaxing those shoulders away from the ears and making sure that left knee is opening up towards the little toe side of the foot. So it's not caving in, it's opening up. And that's going to encourage your hip to do the same. Reach your arms out to the side. Flip that front palm, reach it forward, send it back, reverse warrior. Keep these legs strong and steady beneath you. Inhale, coming up to center. Exhale, bring that left forearm to the thigh. Use that connection to open that knee out to the little toe side of the foot. Right arm reaches over. Move with your breath here. Inhaling to come up through center. Exhaling to send it back. Inhaling to draw up through center. Exhaling to send it over. Inhaling to come up. Finding this movement of your upper body while that lower body stays steady and grounded and rooted beneath you. The next time that you come back to that reverse warrior two, stay there. Flipping that palm, rolling that left shoulder back. And then cartwheel your hands down around that front foot. Turn to a lunge. And you're going to drop that back knee. Step that left knee back too. Sit back onto the heels. Walk the hands past the knees, past the heels. Roll shoulders back. Lift the chest. And then walk your body forward. Pressing your hands down just in front of your shoulders, tucking your toes, lifting your hips, and then walking up to your hands. Finding a fold once more at the top of your mat, feet hip width, or you could go wider if that feels good for you. You might grab a hold of opposite elbow again, opposite arm on top perhaps. Always challenges the mind for a second. Release that tip of the head down. Let the weight of your arms heavy you. And then release your hands. Tuck your chin into your chest and roll your way up. Rolling the shoulders back as you stand. Lifting that chest and just finding yourself again. Bending through the knees, a little softness, openness as we stand. Now, it would be a shame not to find a tree, seeing as I've banged on about them a lot. So that's where we're going. We're going to first plant that right foot into the mat. Your left foot is going to go to your tree. So you might be left sole of the foot onto the thigh. Today I'm going to be on the calf. So maybe you join me on the calf. You could have your toes touching the ground if you would like a little bit more stability today. Now wherever you are, can you press your sole of the foot into the part of the body that it's connected to? And then equally, so I'm pressing my calf back into my foot. That's going to encourage our hips to face forward. Bring your hands to heart center. Find that little tuck of the tailbone. So again, we're lengthening the spine, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest. Take a really deep breath. Keep rolling those shoulders back, lifting the chest. Keep pressing sole of foot into calf or thigh. And then can you draw that left knee towards your hands? And then we're going to start to bend the right knee. Bring the left knee behind and to the side of the right heel. And then we're going to sit down like this. So your right foot is going to be stepped over your left thigh. And we're going to find a side bend from here. I'm just going to face you for a moment so that you can see what I'm doing with my body. So I want you to anchor down your left thigh with this right shin. So we're not going into like a full double pigeon, for those of you who know where that is, or a fire log. We're just using that right shin to anchor down that left thigh. And that's going to help us in our side bend just to get a little deeper. Walk your right fingertips out to the side. Lift your left arm all the way up and over, finding length. And you might not be able to go as far as you do if we did this in a cross-legged position, because you're going to be so much more anchored down. So just notice any differences. You might come down to that right forearm if that feels good. I want you to keep this side of the body opening up towards the ceiling. So if you feel like you're folding, bring yourself up slightly. Take another breath here. And then release your left hand all the way down. Bring yourself up to center. Send your right leg, your top leg, back behind you to find a pigeon once more. So you might stay in a curled up pigeon like we did earlier. You might walk your front foot out in front a little more. So a little more in line with your knee. Whatever your body feels like. Come up onto your fingertips just for a moment. Let's find that extension. And you're kind of wrapping that left hip back, right hip forward. Again, thinking about getting those hips square to the front. And you might stay here. This might feel necessary, needed, what you want today. You might walk down to your forearms. If you've got props, a block, a cushion, a blanket, you might be up on those to make you feel more comfortable. You might even lay your arms all the way out in front of you. Finding something that feels good for a couple of breaths as we just feel more grounded. And also a time to think about that reflection, I guess, that autumn makes me think of. This time for thought after the busyness of the summer and the energy spent, right? In summer it's hotter and things can be more social and we're more out and about and expending more energy. And then you think about winter when we're really then trying to draw in completely. Autumn's like this transition period of this kind of trying to bring that energy back in. So taking these little times to pause can be such a useful thing for your brain, for your mind, for your body, to work through that transition period, to take you to another season. Take one more breath here. And then gently walk your hands up around your knee. You're going to tuck the back toes and press through your hands all the way back to your downward facing dog. You could come back to all fours too if that's feeling too much for you. And then can you walk forwards again? And we're going to all meet dangling at the top of the mat. And you might just let your hands hang this time. You might grab opposite elbow again. You might find a little wiggling from side to side, a sway. Wherever you are, tipping the tip of the head down, trying to bring the hips a little more over the heels. And then tuck your chin into your chest, roll yourself all the way up. Roll your shoulders as you stand. Just feel back into your body. Relaxing your toes. Little softness in the knees. And let's take it to the other side. So left foot heavy into the mat. That right foot comes to your tree. Could be up on that thigh. Might be down on that calf, that shin. Might be toes touching the floor. Whatever feels good. Hands at heart center. Pressing foot into the part of the body that it's connected with, pressing that part of the body back. I also like to press my hands together in this prayer, and that encourages the roll back of the shoulders, the lift of the chest, a little tuck of the tailbone to find that length. Concentrating on something still in front of you and really using that breath to find that balance. One more deep breath. And then draw your right knee up towards your hands. Start to bend your left knee as you guide that right knee all the way behind and to the side of your heel. As you sit yourself down, that left leg crossing over the right thigh. Yeah, great. So, then pressing this top foot, this shin, down into the thigh, and it's anchoring you down, remember, that's all it needs to be. So please don't worry if this knee is right up in the air, you're still doing it exactly right. You're still just anchoring this thigh down, so it finds it a little harder to lift off the floor. Walk the left fingers to the side, reach that right arm up and over to find your side bend, roll your right shoulder back. Anchoring down that thigh, maybe taking your arm out further, coming down to that forearm, but wherever you are, keeping that openness. Putting that big old stretch through the body, but feel how secure you feel. Having that right hand side of the body rooted and stable. Take one more breath. And then draw yourself all the way up. We're taking this top leg back behind us. So the right leg is in front, ready for your pigeon. Maybe wiggling that foot back a little further. Maybe wiggling your right foot up a little more in line with your knee. Only if it feels good though. Even though like we want to be going for deep stretches, so we want to be challenging ourselves somewhat, this is still about you and your body, and what I'm doing might not feel any good for you. So don't feel like you need to look like me or look like someone else that you practice with, right? We all look so different. I found it so hard. I still find it hard when I'm practicing yoga with lots of people and I see people in these poses that I'm like, you're doing this in the most gorgeous looking way, and I don't feel like my body can do that. Like, why should it be able to? My body is my body. What I'm doing is beautiful and right. Same goes for you. So finding that space that you want to, drawing yourself down, laying your arms out all the way long in front of you, draw that right hip back, left hip forward. Find this fold. Taking deep breaths that you're kind of sending straight down to your hips. Heavying the body. You're here for 2 final breaths. And then gently start to walk your hands back around your knee and foot. We're not going to go back to a down dog this time. We're going to bring that back leg forward. Bring both feet as wide as the mat. Send your hands back behind you. And just release the knees side to side. And maybe with each time that they go over, they go a little deeper. They go a little further. And then the next time that you come over to the right hand side, I want you to stay there. And can you place your right heel on top of your left thigh, anchoring it down once more? And can you roll your left shoulder back so you're bringing your chest up? And and centered. With each exhale, just letting that left thigh get a little heavier. And then gently release that right foot. Take your knees a couple of times each way, just in between the sides. Just releasing it out. And then the next time that they come back over to the left, leave them there. Left foot on top of right thigh. And then roll that right shoulder back, drawing your chest back to center. With each exhale, allowing that left foot to heavy down that right thigh a little more. One more breath. And then gently release that left foot. Draw your knees back through center. Take them a couple of times each way. And maybe you go down onto your forearms, getting lower towards the mat, still swaying. And then bring yourself all the way onto your back, maybe still swaying. And then feet as wide as the mat, just knock your knees in towards each other. You can lay your legs out long if that feels more comfortable too. Place left hand over your heart and then right hand over left. Just take a couple of deep breaths here. Feeling your chest expand and lower with each inhale and exhale. Now we're going to move out towards our Shavasana, legs long, arms to the side. I want you to take some time here. I'm going to have to leave you, but take some time. It's so important, just as important as all the stretching and the movement. I promise. It will make a world of difference. So take your Shavasana. I'll see you on the mat next time, once you've had your lovely, juicy Shavasana. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd love it if you could. And looking forward to seeing you on the mat.